Good afternoon, Russell families. If you're tuning in, you have an incoming TK or kinder student in our school. Normally, we do a PrepaKinder orientation in person in our NPR, and we welcome you to our school that way. But we hope you can gain some information about our school and our program as we enter this online learning phase. If you are watching this, it is because we missed you at either our Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning presentation, but I will be reviewing the material that I reviewed with those parents during one of those orientations. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see that Google Slides presentation that we use at both sessions. Normally, we would give you time to ask questions, but I'm hoping that you can either reach out to us via Parent Square or give us a call at our school at 714-663-6151 if you have any questions after you watch our presentation. So welcome to our school. This is PrepaKinder, and it just basically means preparing your child for kindergarten. Here we missed an opening statement from our principal, Mr. Chang, who welcomed you and basically mentioned how different this school year will be for your child. Nonetheless, you will have teachers and support staff that love our Russell Elementary, love helping our students and you as well, and we are more than available to answer your questions. We went over some Zoom etiquette norms, and we won't be going through much of that right now since you're going to be hearing this presentation entirely in English. But I do want to remind you that all of our presentations are have translation interpretation services available, and that is why we have separate Zoom links for each presentation. Our agenda for our parent orientation was as follows. Number one, we went over the program pillars. Number two, we talked about dual language instruction here at Russell and what's gonna look like. And number three, we went over some digital resources, and we closed with number four, some keys to success for your child and you this year. We began our presentation with a moment of reflection. We asked, what's your earliest memory of learning to read or write? If you notice in this top left-hand corner, I had an icon chat. During our Zoom session, we practiced that tool during our discussion, and we had parents share their earliest memories. Now, why did we have them do that? To basically give a moment of reflection. We've all been students. We've all been in the place of our children that are about to embark on this dual language learning. And the purpose of the reflection was to put ourselves in their shoes and be mindful of the positive experiences we've had in learning how to read and write, and replicate those positive memories and feelings for our students, but also to reflect on some of the negative feelings we've had to ensure that we don't do those things with our own scholars here at Russell, and to learn from those experiences, right? Our students are learning how to read and write in a second language, and it will be a challenge for them and for us. And as adults, we just need to be mindful that we're gonna have to put ourselves in their shoes and have some empathy for that learning process. It will take some time, and we are here to support one another in that journey. We reviewed our Garden Grove mission and vision, and also discuss our 3 district goals, the first of which is developing academic skills. And by that, we mean the content, we mean the subjects, reading, writing, language arts, and also developing our students' scholarly habits, right? That responsibility to learn, keeping an agenda, and attaining the material that we're covering in each class, but also attending to our responsibilities as a scholar. Goal number 2 is our personal skills, developing that motivation, addressing the social, emotional needs that our children have, and also developing that climate and culture of support, right? And our last goal is lifelong success. And we do this by instilling in our scholars that thrive to attain a college or university degree, right? And we frame those as keys to a career and lifelong success. So these are the goals that guide all of our district programs. And one of the things that we emphasize during our presentation is that just because we're moving to online distance learning, our goals do not change. They remain the same as we embark on this online journey. We went ahead and started with number 1, our program pillars. And by that, we mean that all dual language programs follow these 3 pillars or these 3 principles. The first of which is bilingualism and biliteracy. The second is grade level academic achievement. And the last is cross-cultural competence. And we're going to walk you through each of those briefly. Our first goal is bilingualism and biliteracy. By that, we mean that our scholars will be able to master the 4 domains of language development. And those 4 domains are speaking the language, writing the language, reading, and listening to the language. And our purpose is that our scholars are able to do this in both languages, English and Spanish. And what we're going to see throughout this K-6 journey is that they're going to be using that Spanish to make those connections with English and vice versa. One language supports the other one. In the left, you see a little poster that reads, El que sabe dos idiomas vale por dos. And what that means is that a person who knows 2 languages counts as 2 separate people, right? So that's the philosophy behind our program. We want to empower our students and have them look at bilingualism as a major asset, especially in our global economy, our 21st century world that we're living in, right? Our second pillar in our dual language program is academic achievement. And what do we mean by this? We mean that scholars are expected to have success in all academic areas, which include mathematics, science, social studies, reading and language arts. And this is the expectation for both languages. What we also mean by this is that your scholar at Russell is not learning different standards than another scholar at another Garden Grove school or another California school for that matter. They will be covering the same TK kindergarten standards as any other student in the state of California. The difference is that they will be doing this in both languages. So the same rigor, the same expectations are in place with our dual language program. Our last pillar for our program is called cross-cultural competence. And by that, we mean that our scholars, our Russell scholars, will be able, through a variety of experiences, learning experiences and activities, they're going to be able to see similarities and differences in each other's cultures, right? But rather than seeing these differences as, something negative or as an obstacle and understanding one another, they're going to see these differences as opportunities. They're going to see them as opportunities to connect with other people in this global society. And we indicated that bridge because we're making bridges from our culture to another culture, right? As we're learning, we're making those connections, building those bridges for mutual understanding. That's a key component in our dual language program. So after we went over that, we took a quick quiz to see if we were paying attention. We were understanding those 3 key pillars. And my first question to our group was, what will our Russell scholars be able to do in both languages? If you see in this top left-hand corner, we also practice a chat feature of Zoom. And let's see, as you're thinking, let's see if you were correct. The answer was our scholars will be able to master the 4 domains of language, which include speaking, writing, reading and listening. And those are pictures of our first grade scholars that are now entering their second grade year this year. My second question, my second check for understanding, it was a true or false question. Russell students will not use Spanish during mathematics instruction. And we asked in the top left-hand corner, if you see that little button that says reactions, we practice how to use that feature in Zoom. And I basically asked parents, go ahead and show me a thumbs up if you think this statement is true. Now you're thinking about it, and let's see if you are correct. The answer should have been false. Our students will be speaking in Spanish throughout the day, right? Whether they're learning reading, writing, mathematics, they're going to be employing the Spanish language as best they can throughout the school day, the virtual school day, that is. And then my third question, we were going to practice the feature, the Zoom feature of polling, but we ended up using a chat room. And here was my question. It's a complete the sentence, complete the statement question. Cross-cultural competence means seeing differences as what? Okay, how do we see differences and cultural differences we have with each other? And let's see if you were correct. The answer is we see them as opportunities to connect, right? Our culture with another culture. It's a positive thing. We see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Okay, and here's some pictures of some of the cultural events we've had at our school site that are representative of the cultures of our student body here at Russell, right? And we move on to the second part of our presentation. It was about dual language instruction at Russell and what that is going to look like. And we repeated some information that you may have had in your district orientation to dual language, and that was to make the point that we use a 90-10 model, and by that we mean that as the student moves along their K-6 journey, the percentage of Spanish decreases while the percentage of English increases, beginning with 90% of Spanish and 10% of English. And then we also brought up the point that right now in kinder, that's our focus. And what that will look like is this: 30 minutes of English language development for our kindergartners this year, right? And next year too for first grade. And that's a picture of our first graders moving on to second grade this year. We also discussed what that would look like in a traditional classroom, right? In our traditional classroom, that means that our teachers and instructional aides will only be using Spanish throughout the day. They don't break code. That's what we call it, keeping code. They will be employing a variety of strategies and scaffolds to support this language of instruction, right? A lot of our students speak a little bit of Spanish and are learning the academic Spanish as well as English. And then there are students in our classrooms that don't speak any Spanish, but do speak English. And what we try to do is create opportunities for one student population to support the other student population in this language acquisition journey. And I know what you're thinking, that's all fine and dandy in a regular classroom setting, but what will that look like as we phase into this, what we call a virtual classroom or online classroom? And we discuss these in the next slide. So we're talking now a virtual classroom, right? And what we mean by that are two things. One of the things is synchronous time. Synchronous time. Sorry, my pronunciation there. Synchronous time. What that means is what I'm doing right now. I'm your teacher. I'm teaching you. I'm giving you information, and you as my student, you are listening to me, right? So when we had our orientation, we definitely modeled synchronous time. What that means is the teacher is leading her classroom, and as you can see in this little graphic, the students are listening to her. They're following her, right? During that time, instruction is completely in Spanish. But we understand that we have a diversity of families in our school. We have families that speak Spanish. that have adults at home that speak Spanish, and then there are families that don't have that model at home. And so what resource do we have available for them? While the teacher is teaching the class, you are more than welcome to type in a question for her in English. If you need anything clarified, that will be the means to do that. The teacher will only be allowed to answer you in Spanish via the chat room. She cannot break code, and she cannot go from English to Spanish. She must maintain that language code and be consistent with the language that she's using, right? So, but that is a resource for you as a parent. In a virtual classroom, we also have something called asynchronous time, or what we refer to as independent work. And that will be done via the classroom platform called Seesaw, right? And what does that mean? That their assignments, the homework assignments, classwork assignments, they are all going to be Seesaw activities. Students will be expected to complete these in Spanish. And I know what you're thinking, my child is barely learning Spanish. Well, she's gonna model this, the expectations. And you'd be surprised how fast they're gonna pick it up too. However, we understand that you, as possibly English-speaking parents or monolingual-speaking parents, will need some support. And so what teachers are instructed to do is they have been directed to give instructions, bilingual instructions. So there will be some support in English and Spanish for you to support your scholar at home. What is also expected during asynchronous time or independent time are 20 minutes of daily reading. And your scholar's teacher will give you more indications for reading websites, Spanish reading websites for your child to use during that time. Number 3 are our digital resources, and we began by discussing this. In a normal setting, you walk your child to their classroom, you open the door, the teacher greets you, you probably take a picture, your child's first day of school, right? Beautiful memories. Well, they can still be beautiful, but you've got to keep in mind that that classroom door has changed. And now, rather than opening a classroom door, we're going to be opening a Chromebook every day, right? At least to start off the year, as far as I know, right? So keep in mind that that classroom door has been replaced with that Chromebook, right? And that will be our classroom now. I know it's a little bit different, and it's going to be an adjustment period for students and teachers combined. We also clarified at this point that if for some reason your child needs a device, we have been issuing Chromebooks. You are welcome to call our office or message us to let us know that your child still needs a Chromebook. We are still issuing them this week, right? Yes, sorry, this week. I also mentioned that Chromebook is not going to work at all until your scholar officially logs in. And we went over what their official username will be. It will consist of 3 components: the graduation year of your child, so from now until 12th grade, their first initial, just the first initial, and their entire last name. So I gave this example, 26J Fernandez. 26 is the year 2026. That's the year this particular child is going to graduate. J could be in reference to Jose, Juan, Jacob, any name beginning with a J, and his last name is Fernandez. The username also consists of an email address, that is the username, and it consists of @ggusd.net. The interesting thing about your child's username and password is that it will remain constant from now until their graduation year. Their password consists of their 8-digit birth date. So for example, if this child, Jay Fernandez, has a birth date of January 31st, 2010, their password would be 01/31/2010. And don't worry, we will give you more information about this. Your son or daughter's teacher will also provide you with that login information. So once you log into that Chromebook and you log in with your username and password, we recommend that you visit ClassLink. And you do that by typing in the URL portal.ggusd. And what that will do is that it'll basically move you to a website, an application, sorry, that basically houses all the URLs and passwords that you're gonna need throughout this year. This screen will come up, and guess what username you're gonna put? The one I just gave you an example for, 26J Fernandez. Remember, this is our sample student. But the difference with portal.ggusd.us is that you're not gonna need that ggusd.net part. You just need that first part to log in. His password, do you remember? It was his birthday, January 31st, 2010. Okay, and again, don't worry, you will get a cheat sheet where we will walk you through the steps on how to do this when you open your Chromebook. Once you log in, ClassLink will look like this. It's basically a dashboard with all the different curriculum sites that your child has available to him or her. I'm going to point out just 3 that are going to be important to have a successful year, and that's ConnectEd, McGraw-Hill. That is our reading language arts publisher. You're going to find books and all the resources that your child is going to use this year for reading language arts as well. And we will have other parent workshops later on where we're going to go over these particular sites more in depth. Another one that you might want to reference is our Savvis, our math website. That's another one where there are lessons and hands-on, tools, digital tools for your child to use. And again, I will tell you that we will be having other workshops later on where we will be reviewing those. But the #1 icon app to click on a daily basis will be Seesaw. And why is that important? Because that is your scholars' main platform. That's where all their assignments will be at. So when your kiddo clicks on that, chooses that, they're gonna be redirected. And real quick, just so you can have a closer glimpse of that icon. If you notice, it says the word Google. And it says Google because it's gonna require their Google login. And let's see if we remember. Do you remember the sample students' Google login? Oh, it didn't let me. Oops, there we go. It'll show you right now, sorry. Just want to let you know that at the bottom, there's a text code. Some teachers, most will give you a text code, but you're not gonna need it when you log in through the Gmail, the ggusd.net account. And so what do we mean by that? Remember our sample kid, Jay Fernandez? He's gonna type that in, hit the next button, and then do you remember his password? January 31st, he's gonna type it in. See how everything is pretty consistent? It's basically the same username and password for pretty much everything, okay? Once you log in, your online platform will look something like this. I borrowed this from Maestra Crenzine, our TK teacher, right? So this is what you're gonna be looking at. It'll have your teacher's name on it. One quick note about Seesaw. Seesaw is an interaction between 3 people, the teacher, the student, and you, the parent, and our families, right? Teachers use Seesaw to create those assignments, the independent work assignments your child will be expected to complete. And students, how do they interact with Seesaw? Well, they look at those assignments and complete them, and they might be using pictures or drawing or even recording themselves to finish those assignments. And then finally, we have our family members. That's you all. You get to see your child's work as well, and you actually get to comment on it as well. So going back to when you log into Ms. Crenzine's or your child's Seesaw, it'll look something like this, and I'll point out 3 things. 1, the inbox. That is your mailbox. The teacher will be sending messages to your inbox. It might be, for example, this one, she reminded her families of expectations, right? Behavior expectations for Seesaw. And then she might have also reminded them about something else. So this is where you're gonna get your email, so to speak, your email notifications from your scholars teacher. Another thing that I wanna point out is that little light bulb activities. Guess what, folks? Those are the actual assignments, the actual activities a teacher wants your scholar to complete. Here's a quick sample. They kind of look like this. They're gonna direct you to another page. So I'm gonna, as a parent, I'm gonna click on this and Maestra Crenzina is going to have some kind of activity for my child to complete. And how will I complete it? By pressing that green button called Add Response. You might also see an activity where it will require your son or daughter to visit a link, right? And I just wanted to highlight that because this is, for example, a Zoom link that Ms. Crenzina posted for her students. So you're gonna wanna click that and open up the other page. Finally, I wanna draw your attention to the journal. And what that basically is a summary of all the activities your son or daughter has completed. If you notice at the bottom right here, there's a little heart with Ms. Crenzina's name, and there's a little play button here. I wonder why. Well, she's giving your child feedback. So rather than type it in, she went ahead and recorded her voice, right? And so that's something pretty nifty, right? So your son or daughter will be able to hear their teacher give feedback as well, okay? A couple more things, sorry, about Seesaw. Your child will be expected to submit assignments in basically one of 6 ways, right? They might be asked to upload some kind of photo. They might be asked to do a drawing or write on something. They might even be asked to record a video, right? Or upload maybe a picture of their written work, right? Or make a note. They might even be asked to submit a link. Your son or daughter's teacher will explain Seesaw a little more thoroughly during their back to school night. And I will be walking you through more of Seesaw at a separate parent workshop. Just to let you know, as your child is completing their assignment or creating their classwork, they have all these wonderful tools and resources available through Seesaw. So that big T, they can type in their answer, right? But I love the mic because I heard so many of our scholars last year record their responses to their teachers, and I loved hearing their Spanish, so beautiful, right? They might also be expected to take a picture, and I saw those pictures as well, right? Again, I wanna remind you, we will be reviewing these more thoroughly, but for the time being, it'd be nice to get acquainted with these tools, right? Another digital resource available to you is our Russell website. I want to tell you though that we are in the process of updating it, so have some patience with me. I'm trying to make it a little more user-friendly and with some updates on websites and resources for you to use during this online journey. So that is our Russell website. And here's another view of it. And I will sadly tell you that picture right there you see in our website is from last year's PrepaKinder Parent Orientation. Look at us, gathered as a Russell family. Our kinder scholars were there with us. They were part of this orientation as well, separately with their teachers, but we came together at the end for an activity. So we miss this too. We miss you. We miss seeing you. We miss meeting our new Russell Rams, but we are making the best of this situation, right? I want to draw your attention to that homeschool support menu. That's the one that actually I'm currently updating right now. That's where the major area of support will be for at-home links and possible Q&A that you'll have access to. Here is also, I'm pointing out the tab of upcoming events. All of our parent workshops have already been programmed there in our calendar. So as you can see, it actually says PrepaKinder Parent Orientation, right? So it is updated. The events are listed there. Another thing, if you notice in the homeschool support, it says Russell YouTube. What is this? We have a YouTube page. We have videos there available for you to view. A lot of them were about last year's events, but as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, I already updated our parent boot camp for upper grade parents that we hosted last week. And I will be posting this link as well there. I couldn't take a picture of it, but at the bottom, as you scroll down the YouTube page, you can also see some kindergarten videos that are available for you as well. So we will be updating that, and you should be receiving notification of our videos via Parent Square. And speaking of Parent Square, here we are. You want to make sure you download the application on your phone and turn on those notifications so that you're very up to date with what is happening at our Russell school. If you happen to have a friend or a neighbor who you know has a TK or kinder student, please let them know about Parent Square. And if they need assistance, they can always call our office. And why do I say that? Because Parent Square is a #1 way to keep in touch with your scholar's teacher. I kid you not, our teachers are dying to get a hold of you. And they're gonna start doing so probably tomorrow or later this week. This is a way to find out any announcements, any updates on anything happening in the classroom. This will be the #1 application that we'll use to get in contact with you. With that said, I went ahead and I introduced our teachers. There were a couple that were present in the afternoon, but here are our teachers for TK Kinder. We have Maestra Crenzin, Maestra Gallardino, Mr. Mondaka, who joins us from 1st grade. He taught 1st grade last year and decided to move to kindergarten. And then we have Maestra Sturz, who is also teaching kinder this year. We also introduce you to our front office staff, which is headed by our lovely secretary named Chrissy. We also have Ms. Leida, who has been in our Russell community for decades. She knows our school very well and is a wonderful resource for our families. We also introduce you to Ms. Marta Galvan, who is our community liaison. She's our morning community liaison, and we will have an afternoon liaison, and we will let you know who that is at a later date. They are welcome. You are more than welcome to ask them questions, call our office, and if you must come to our office for whatever reason, we ask that you wear a mask. We do this for your safety and the safety of our lovely ladies in the front office. #4, we closed with tips, keys to success for a stress-free school year. Oh, I'm sure there'll be some challenges, but we're trying to give you some suggestions to get your scholar started on the right foot. My first piece of advice is practice, practice, practice. Practice with your scholar how to open that Chromebook. Or if you choose to use an iPad and maybe you have one at home and you'd rather they use that device. Practice how to log in. We gave you the login information and you're gonna get it from the teacher as well, but just practice makes better. And the more they get used to logging in, clicking class link or whatever starting point they have, the more comfortable they're gonna get. And the more you as a parent will be gradually releasing that responsibility from the student. Another piece of advice, another tip, get familiar with Zoom, with the Zoom tools. Those parents that joined us this afternoon did practice some of these tools with us, and we encourage you to do the same, right? Get familiar with those different buttons and the purpose for each of those buttons. Your child is gonna get used to it throughout the year, right? Because the teacher will be practicing those different buttons with them. Another piece of advice is we had an issue with this last year. A lot of our kinder kiddies, right? I imagine it's because, you know, age and comfort level, were very uncomfortable turning their Chromebook camera on. And so just giving them some practice time to do that, making them comfortable, right? Whether it's today, let's practice getting on the camera for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute, make it fun for them, right? Because we did deal with some concerns last year. We had, you know, some of our kiddos in tears. And we pulled everything from our toolbox to make them feel comfortable with this new platform, right? With this new method of communicating with their teacher. But the more fun we can make it for them, the better, right? Another tip for success is learn how to mute and unmute the microphone. The parents that joined us this afternoon, we practiced how to do that. There were parts of the presentation where we had them come in and mute their button, but we also wanted them to interact with us and share answers. And so we had them unmute their microphones, right? And the teachers will be doing that throughout the day with your scholar as well. If you notice in the picture, this lovely little girl is wearing earphones. We also recommended that. I indicated to parents that places like the Dollar Tree sell those earphones for $1, right? And it might be worth the investment just because, you know, every household dynamic is different. There might be some household that maybe have a lot more noise than others. But what the earphones do, and I noticed this in our kindergartners and all of our primary grades, is that it helps them focus as well, right? They zone out all the background noise, and it centers them to the task at hand. So that's one tool and tip for success. Another one, ready? Here we go. We're gonna start school at 8 a.m., right? But now it's gonna happen via Zoom. And I know what you're thinking, oh my goodness, 8 a.m.? Yes, start practicing that with your child, right? Let's get them ready with that alarm clock. I shared with our parents this afternoon that even I needed a good week to get used to waking up this early, right? I was still in summer mode, but helping them with getting comfortable with that is imperative for their success. Yes, students are expected to log in at 8 a.m. and teachers will be taking attendance, right? So it's for real now, ladies and gentlemen. We are in session, and just keep in mind that if we were at Russell, we would be starting in person at 8 a.m. So we're not deviating from that original calendar and the original circumstances that we're in as much as we can, right? And we ended with some important dates and reminders. This is a Spanish one. Let me go on to the English one. Here we go. Today you are attending orientation, but it says on the top left-hand corner, parent boot camp for grades. Oh, it should say TK through second grade. Tuesday, August 17th, 4 p.m. That's in the afternoon. Or you can attend either or. It says parent boot camp Wednesday at 9 a.m. So we did this to accommodate your busy schedules. Some of you are available in the afternoon. Some of you prefer the morning. And so you don't attend both, you attend either one. And how is that boot camp different than this? Well, this is an orientation. This is just to welcome you to Russell, to our dual language program. But in that boot camp, we're gonna talk more specifically about distance learning and what that'll look like at our school site. So you don't wanna miss that one, okay? Bottom left-hand bubble, the purple bubble, sorry, it says distribute materials. That's when teachers are gonna be handing out workbooks and other school supplies. Login information will be distributed then. You don't wanna miss that day, right? That may be your one chance to meet the teacher in person. A lot of our teachers will be present on that distribution day to know, you know, for you to quickly say hello and make physical contact with your scholar's teacher. And that will be taking place from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will be sending more information, more details about that distribution later this week. And then finally, first day of school, Monday, August 24th. And we're gonna kick things off at 8 a.m. Don't forget, we still start at 8 a.m. But we're gonna start with a school-wide assembly. We'll have an overview from our principal, Mr. Chang, and our assistant principal, Mrs. Haas, that will be talking to you about Russell, welcoming you on board, and sharing some important information with you and your scholar. And you, a parent, yes, you are welcome to join us at that assembly. Of course, we want to see you, we want to welcome you, to our school at our first assembly. And then finally, I concluded with these are the images of my nephew. He started virtual kindergarten today, Monday, in Santa Ana, but Santa Ana Unified. And I showed our families and you this picture. I'm showing you this picture to remind you that every one of us is affected by this new platform. In my family, he's one of 3 nieces and nephews that are embarking on the same journey you are, right? So I am always mindful of how I can support you, our Russell parent, just as I support my sisters with their children, right? This is going to be a challenge for us, but it's not one that we can't conquer. We work together, we are resilient, we work and we call ourselves a Russell family, a Russell community. We're here to support one another. And I just wanted to share that with you because I myself am going through this journey, and I'm very mindful of the information that I share with you and the resources that I share with you, and to let you know that we are using these resources too. We are practicing these tips, these same tips that I'm giving you, we're practicing at our home. And we are very mindful of this journey, and we're not going to get through it without one another, right? Without supporting one another. So I'll let you know how his first day went. And finally, we said thank you, and we address questions that you may have had throughout this presentation. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen right now and just tell you thank you for joining me for our PrepaKinder Orientation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us via Parent Square if you wish, or call our office at 714-663-6151. And thank you once again. My name is Maestra Gil, and I am the instructional coach here at Russell. Thank you so much.